The howl of another air raid siren brings Tehran to a virtual standstill. It means in just 4 minutes' time, an Iraqi missile will strike.
In the name of God, the compassion of the merciful.
Outside, 7 missiles fell within an hour during this latest round in the War of the Cities. 10 people were killed and 100 injured as the rockets exploded close to 2 hospitals and a mosque.
On the rare occasions that Iran takes Western journalists to the front, it usually means they have something to gloat about. Iraqi gunners less than 3 miles away zeroed in on the visiting foreigners. Mercifully, none of the convoys were hit, though there were near misses. The Iranians have been displaying a battlefield that's strewn with Iraqi losses. The Iranian prize for inflicting this slaughter on their enemies was a strategic village 6 miles east of Basra. We are now in Iranian-occupied Iraq, and from what we can see here, right at the front line, the Iraqi forces have taken a serious beating. There are scores of tanks and armoured personnel carriers in this one sector alone. So were the Iranians using their newly acquired American TOW anti-tank missiles and Hawk aircraft batteries for the first time in battle. The Iranians aren't denying it, and Western observers believe the answer is more than likely to be yes. If so, it was ironic that these jubilant Revolutionary Guards were not only decrying Iraq, but also America, whose weaponry probably helped them win this battle. The Iranians are also capitalizing on their latest haul of POWs. The Iraqis, though, still have formidable lines of defense around Basra, and there's no evidence yet to suggest that the city is about to fall. Brent Sadler, ITN, Iran.
Tehran looks a city at peace, its postcard setting the mask for a nation that is slowly destroying itself at the same time as its enemy. Inside the capital, the pain of war is all too evident. These mourners grieving for men and boys who've fallen in a war that is paid for in blood. After each battle, thousands of Iranians bury their dead at the Baghdad cemetery on the outskirts of Tehran. The bigger the battle, the heavier the casualties. The recent Iranian gains cost more families, more men, but their will to win is solid.
He liked Islam and he want to go to the war and kill all of the Saddam, you know?
This old man was a soldier. Age is no barrier in their holy war. The young learn that they too must be prepared to fight and die. Soldiers are not killed in battle, they're martyred in the eyes of Iranians, and they deserve a special place in heaven. This woman had just buried a son. She said she was willing to sacrifice her 6 other boys to defeat their enemies. In another part of Tehran, the women were helping feed the Iranian war machine. Volunteers, many of them widows and mothers who'd lost sons, giving up time to dry bread which is sent to the front. One 67-year-old, Nasira Sakina, has paid the ultimate family sacrifice.
He says that all of them have been martyrs. I have got 9 children. The last one was 19 years old, which had been martyred.
So she lost all her sons?
Yeah.
Distribution centres collect gifts that go to the front. It's winter, so oil burners are in demand for men in the trenches. Other contributions are lifesavers, files of antidote that could be used in a chemical attack. Elsewhere, metal containers were being turned into field hospitals, the improvised boxes soon to be filled with the casualties of battle. The ravages of war are not apparent, however, on the streets of Tehran. While there's a commitment to defeat Iraq, people are tired of the strains of war and the restrictions it imposes on their lives. While shops are well stocked and luxury items not hard to find, the prices are high. Some food is rationed, but it can be bought on a thriving black market. Iranian oil exports fund the war, but petrol too is rationed, the fuel conserved for the fighting machines. Next month, Iran celebrates the anniversary of its revolution, a revolution that in 7 years has seen war but no peace. Brent Sadler, News at 10, Tehran.
The howl of another air raid siren brings Tehran to a virtual standstill. It means in just 4 minutes' time, an Iraqi missile will strike, wreaking more death and destruction in the War of the Cities. Many people have already fled the capital in fear. Others now lead new lives in underground shelters. Deep below city centre apartment blocks, families have formed subterranean ghettos for protection and company during the long hours of anxiety. There's no comfort or privacy and hardly any room for belongings. But some who've already lost homes, family and friends have precious little else in the world. The wealthier Iranians can afford to pay for more luxurious shelter. They band together each evening in hotel lobbies to comfort each other between the many explosions which send shudders through the capital. The city holds its breath until the blasts are no more and the all clear is sounded. This hospital was hit in a recent attack, but the raids are by no means one way. It's a tit-for-tat cross-country conflict which Iran is warning could become far more horrific if it decides to deploy chemical weapons. The blitz on Tehran began mid-morning when the first of the Iraqi rockets hit a residential part of the capital. Another was to shock newsmen who were waiting in the Iranian parliament building for a press conference. But the parliamentary speaker and chief war spokesman, Mr. Ali Rasfanjani, was not put off and continued the meeting as planned. However, his translated opening address was to be rudely interrupted.
In the name of God, the compassion of the merciful.
He, unlike others, did not flinch, and on went the conference. The speaker faced reporters' questions for 90 minutes, ranging from chemical warfare to Terry Waite. He warned that Iran would also consider using chemical warheads if Iraq continued to fire such weapons. He went on that Iran had no news of Mr. Waite and would not get involved because of what he called Britain's hostile attitude towards his country. Outside, 7 missiles fell within an hour during this latest round in the War of the Cities. 10 people were killed and 100 injured as the rockets exploded close to 2 hospitals and a mosque. Later, at another press facility, captured Iraqi army officers were put on show. Some had surrendered near Halabja, the city in Iraq which was bombed with chemical weapons by its own air force. Most officers said it shouldn't have happened.
I think they are good that all the civilians may be out of the city during the operation. And I don't know, this is my thought.
Do you feel proud or ashamed to be a member of the Iraqi army, knowing what has happened?
Of course, nobody can agree with these things.
A nearby soccer stadium has become home for thousands more Iraqi prisoners who've been told that for them, the war is over. Terry Lloyd, News at 10, Tehran.
Iran has suffered more than Iraq. About 150 Iraqi missiles have hit Iranian cities, nearly 3 times the number Iran has fired back. Sheltering from the missile blitz has become part of daily life in Tehran. The missiles being used by Iran and Iraq are Soviet-designed SS-1s called Scud by NATO. In its standard form, the missile has a range of some 300 kilometers and carries a high explosive warhead of 1,000 pounds. The standard Scud missile can easily hit Baghdad from Iranian soil, but Tehran is further from the common border, so Iraq has had to extend its missiles' range to 550 kilometers to hit the Iranian capital. How they've done this is not certain. Iran claims Iraq has added booster rockets, but British intelligence sources think that unlikely. They believe the Iraqis have made their missiles lighter by reducing the size of their explosive warheads to just 250 pounds. Thousands of Scuds have been produced by the Soviet Union in the last 25 years. In Europe, many are fitted with nuclear warheads. The Soviets have supplied the conventionally armed version to many of their allies, including Egypt, Iraq, Libya and Syria. Iraq may have received some 200 missiles, probably from the Soviet Union direct. Iran probably has less than 100, some from Syria and Libya, others possibly from North Korea. Iraq is pressing hard with missile attacks on Tehran, hoping to drive the Iranian government into accepting the United Nations ceasefire terms. But there's little sign the missile blitz is having that effect, and there are reports that both sides are now short of missiles.